tonight's council meeting. I'd like for Vice Mayor Fish to lead us in the pledge and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for our community. We thank you for an opportunity to gather tonight and make decisions that will shape the future of this community. God, I just pray that you would be in all of our hearts, be in all of our minds, give us wisdom, and show us the direction that you would have for the future of Goddard, Kansas. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Get started tonight. I seek a motion to approve our agenda.
Mr. Mayor, did staff recommend a couple of changes to the agenda?
Sure.
Got them in, I think I put some in front of you there.
Okay.
My apologies. We had a couple of a late arrival, so.
Okay, if you'll look, we're going to move the Baker Tilly Municipal Finance Advising to I-1A. That's 1-1. And then for item 10 will be change order request number 2 for the 2024 roadway project. With those changes, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda. I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I made the motion, Brent seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're on the roll. Next item, citizens' comments. I've been asked if you decide to come forward this evening, and you're more than welcome to. You have 3 minutes. We are happy to listen. At some points in time, it's hard for people that are viewing from home to hear, so we'd like you to, and we'll try to do better too, speak clearly into the microphone. So sometimes those things are a little intimidating, but I want everybody to hear. So open citizen comments. Going once, going twice. Any closed citizen comments for this evening? Thank you for speaking clearly into the microphone. Next item on the agenda is our ex parte question. At this time, I'd like to give the council a chance to declare any conflicts of communication that they've had that might influence their ability to consider today's agenda items impartially. Questions or issues with that? Shake your heads no. Okay, we're good on that. Let's move on. Appointments and proclamations.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening, Brett.
I'm going to try this out. Hopefully I don't speak too loud into it. So give me a second. All right, so tonight I'd like to recognize Nicholas Ball for a promotion, public works employee for a promotion that he was given. Little history about Nick, so I can get my clicker to work. There we go. Nicholas Ball began working at the City of Goddard in June of 2019. Prior to joining our public works team, he spent 7 years repairing water mains, for the City of Wichita, and a year working in water and wastewater for Rose Hill. Over the 5 years he has spent at Goddard, Nick has earned a Class A CDL, Aquatic Facility Operator License, a Kansas Water 1 and Water 2 certifications, and a Wastewater 2 certification. Those tests are very tough to pass, take a lot of knowledge and a lot of study. Not an easy thing to do. In 2022, Nick was promoted to Water Operator in Charge, and since that point he's been overseeing all the city's water infrastructure and operations. He's done an outstanding job. So because of his hard work, attention to detail, and his professionalism, Nick was recently promoted to Public Works Foreman and Water Utility Superintendent. And what that means is basically in the field, he's going to be my second. He's going to lead the crew, he's going to address stuff with the public, and he's going to make sure, like he always has been, at least in 22, that our water system is working properly. We're very lucky to have Nick on board. He's the kind of guy that can go anywhere to work, so we are very fortunate to have him here, and I'm very happy to have him here.
Yeah.
Brooke said some nice stuff about me, so I have to say some nice stuff about him. About 5 years ago to the day, Craig offered me a position here. I have been kind of given the freedom and the tutelage with Brooke to kind of grow into this position. And just going forward, I hope to continue to make public works efficient and effective. And happy to grow with Goddard. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. City Administrator Cossette.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, it is my distinct pleasure to present to you for consideration the appointment of Erica Bradley to serve on the Goddard Public Library Board. So a year or two ago, the City of Goddard passed Charter Ordinance 16, which articulates provisions of KSA 12-1222, which apply to the Goddard Public Library, whereas library board members are appointed by the mayor with the consent of the governing body. During the Monday, June 10th library board meeting, the library board voted in favor of recommending Erica Bradley to Mayor Lead for appointment to the library board. This thing must be running low on double A's.
There we go.
Erica Bradley grew up in Lufkin, Texas. She went to Stephen F. Austin State University and received a bachelor's degree in animal science. The Bradley family moved to Goddard last November, having heard wonderful things about the school district and community. She currently stays at home with her kids and will return to work once the kids start school full time. Erica shares that she looks forward to the opportunity to be on the library board. Here's staff's recommendation to the City Council.
Okay. She comes highly recommended, and I recommend her for that position. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointment.
Make a motion to approve the appointment.
I second.
Pete makes the motion, Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great, library position filled on the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Motion to approve that.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Brent makes the motion.
Second.
Aubrey seconds. On the left side of me, take that. Any questions? None? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item carries. No unfinished business. Or to new business. I-1.
Good evening.
Good.
I was told I need to speak directly to this board. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Brett Sjogren with Steeple Public Finance in Wichita, Financial Advisor to the City. This is item I-1, 23rd South Edition, Phase 1, GeoPin Note Sale Resolution. Some background, on May 20th this year, City Council adopted numerous resolutions to authorize infrastructure improvements related to the 23rd South Edition Phase 1 development. You may remember there are 3 steps to these types of processes, and that was step 1, was to authorize those improvements. These are the various improvements, the resolutions adopted for those projects, and the estimated construction cost amounts. Second step is to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of general obligation temporary notes, Series 2024-3, to provide interim finance to fund the projects. With approval, Steeple Public Finance, myself, will prepare the preliminary official statement. We'll solicit a rating, since the size of this issue is a little bit larger than recent issues. A rating would be cost effective, and we'll advertise the note sale to potential purchasers, banks, underwriters, and investors. So that would be step 2. Step 3 will come at your next meeting, will be to accept the best bid from the purchaser, providing the lowest true interest cost, or TIC, to the city. The note sale resolution authorizes the financial advisor to move forward with the sale of the temporary notes. Schedules a competitive bid sale on July 15th I guess it's in 2 meetings. July 15th, opening the bids at 10 a.m. On that date, we'll open the bids and evaluate them for accuracy. We'll present the results of the sale to the city council that evening and recommend to the city council to accept the best bid for the purchaser providing the lowest tick to the city and consider adopting the note resolution. After the close of the notes, which is scheduled for August 1st, proceeds will be used to construct the projects. Once the projects are completed and the notes are near maturity, final costs will be calculated. 100% of the costs of the project will be assessed to the property owners in that improvement district and 0% to the city at large. Property owners will have an opportunity to prepay any or all of their assessments. Any amount not prepaid will be financed with GO bonds, and the payments be collected by specials taxes over a 20-year period for 20 annual installments. Financials, cost of issuance for the note issuance will be paid for with note proceeds and will be eventually at the end of whenever we issue bonds, will be special assessed to the property owners. Semi-annual interest payments will be paid for capitalized interest, also by note proceeds which are included within the financing. Legally, the note sale resolution and supporting documents were authorized by the authorization resolutions 24-19 through 24-23. And the statute KSA 12-6A 01 et sec, which is the special assessment statute. The document's been drafted by your bond counsel, Kevin Cowan with Gilmore and Bell, been reviewed by myself and by your city attorney, Ryan Peck, who approved them before. Recommendation from your staff tonight is to adopt the note sale resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation temporary notes, Series 2024-3 of the city of Goddard, Kansas, which is a voice vote. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions. Been through this process many times with all your developments. So
Current market rates?
markets were under a little pressure a few weeks ago. They've kind of stabilized a little bit. We hope to be in the 425 range. We're still kind of in an inverted yield curve, so short-term rates are actually a little higher than long-term rates. But we hope to be between 4 and 425.
Any other questions? I entertain a motion to adopt the note sale resolution.
I make a motion to adopt the note sale resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation temporary note series 2024-3 of the city of Goddard, Kansas.
Chris made the motion. Here's a second.
Second.
Aubrey seconds.
Resolution number 2426. Oh, sorry.
All those in favor say, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, vote.
Okay, now 2426.
There we go.
Great. We'll come back on July 15th with the results of the sale.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm always rusty. Okay. Item number 2, Brooke, it's up to you. 1A, yeah.
Wrong one.
We got another one.
You're not quite up yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know there was 2 of these. I'll be glad to wait till you read.
1 second, Mr. Mayor.
No, fine, we're getting there.
Which one is this, Ben? Alright, I gotta call the consultant here for this third item, so. Hey man, this is Craig Crossett, your city administrator in Goddard. I'm gonna put you on speakerphone and set you next to the governing body, okay? Oh man, City Council, thanks for bearing with us through getting the tech up and running here. So item I-1A, the Baker Tilly Financial Management Services Agreement. As you guys know, the city's CFO recently submitted his resignation. This is the same guy that referred to his retirement as abandonment, but we like him, so we're not giving him too hard of a time. Due to the complexity of public finance and the timing of budget season, staff is suggesting that we hire Baker Tilly Municipal Advisory to provide financial management services through budget season in the onboarding of a new CFO. On speakerphone there next to the Honorable Mayor is Ben Hart with Baker Tilly representing their interests. Ben, say hello to the governing body if you don't mind.
Good evening.
All right, so Baker Tilly submitted the attached engagement letter and financial management services agreement that the council could see in Exhibit A of the agenda packet. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider approving that agreement. Here are the following functions of the scope of work that Baker Tilly will provide the city as a part of this contract. They'll assist staff with the annual budget preparation, monthly budget monitoring, reporting and analysis, remote accounting assistance, on-call general consulting, assisting us with the transition to a new CFO, and any other services as corrected. So one of the interesting tidbits about this is one of their newly engaged employees is going to be a future employee of ours who happens to know a little bit about our finance department, so that should help us a bit with our transition. We'll have somebody from Baker Tilly representing them that has a real good institutional knowledge of our, not only the city operations from a financial perspective, but also the staff and everyone's functions and how our operations go. Here is the cost per hour. I would add that we likely won't have much billing above that senior manager and manager line item. I would anticipate most will be below it. We bill on a monthly basis for actual hours spent on the below scope of work. If council is interested in tracking to see how much we're actually spending on this contract, I would encourage you to keep your eye on the accounts payable, which is in every one of your agenda packets. You know, one of the nice things about having someone who works there that knows our organization is it should be as efficient as possible without having to log a ton of extra hours trying to get to know everything as they help us with this work. So here's the recommendation from city staff, I should say. Ryan Peck with the city attorney's group, Morris Lane, has approved this as to its form. And our recommendation was that council authorize the mayor to execute the agreement in Exhibit A. I'd be glad to take questions. I'm sure Mr. Hart on the phone would as well.
Absolutely.
Any questions?
Yeah, I mean, my only question is it guaranteed that we're getting Matt from this company? Because
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
don't want to hire the company and then get somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. We are excited to have Matt on board. Very excited. I sat in Matt's shoes, so I know the transition is going as well. And we'd already talked to Craig and Matt, and we're just going to turn right back around and make this transition as seamless as possible. You'll have somebody working with you, one of our staff members, as Craig had mentioned, that's lower down on that schedule that can help put numbers together, whatever Matt needs, he'll have access to. But he'll be working with Goddard to keep the lights on and keep everything moving.
Well, Mr. Hart, you're getting a good one. We're really going to miss Matt around here, but we appreciate you guys working with us to make that transition smooth.
You bet. Not a problem.
What about a homesick clause? When he starts missing us, he comes back immediately, right? We're definitely gonna miss you,
I think
man.
that's a no.
So I would add, we've been aggressively advertising the vacancy in all the appropriate mediums that one does that. We've had some strong applicants come in. We'll have a couple more weeks of advertising, and then your senior staff will be beginning interviews the first week of July. So as much as we love Matt and we appreciate the opportunity to work with Baker Tilly, our goal is to get the position filled. So we can get back to business as usual.
Okay, good. You can take a motion to approve the contract?
Make a motion to move to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement attached to Exhibit A.
Keats made a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
Albert seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Ben, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, you bet. You have a good evening. Okay.
Now I'm good the right time. Item I2 is West Alley rebuild. Some of you will know this one really well. The West Alley is an approximately 320-foot long, 20-foot wide gravel alleyway that is located west of Main Street between First Street and Santa Fe. It serves as the main service entrance for deliveries at Stroot's Locker, and there are a handful of other businesses that back up to it as well. During the renovation and expansion of Stroot's Locker facility, several natural gas lines owned and operated by Kansas Gas Service required relocation. The excavation required to relocate those lines, combined with regular heavy rainfall and heavy truck traffic, has led to the formation of several very big, deep, large mud holes in that alley. So bad that one day a semi got stuck back there. And so it's quite a mess as an council area. So, and that alley at times is impassable because of those mud holes. Because of the depth of the potholes, the most effective way to remove them is to completely rebuild the alley. And what we're proposing in that rebuild is to excavate and remove approximately 5 inches of the existing muddy dirt, install geomat down the alley, repair the base of the alley by packing 4 inches of new rock into it, and then spread and roll new top coat of rock on it. Before any of this work starts, if it is approved, I've talked with Stroot's Locker, and we've both agreed they've got to do some work back there to complement us and vice versa. So we're going to work with them, and they're ready to do that as well. So the city staff solicited bids for the proposed rebuild from multiple companies, and we received 3. The companies in their bids are B&B Clausen Enterprises, $20,500, Suter Excavating for $36,000, and New Image Construction for $17,912. All the bidders met the required specifications, and New Image Construction was the best bidder at $17,912.50. If approved, that $17,912.50 will be allocated to Capital Improvement Fund Streets capital outlay. Questions? As I said, we've been working with Stroot's, and we're going to coordinate the rebuild of this alley with them removing the big dumpster and some spoils they have back there and doing some cleanup back there, so it'll benefit both of us.
So it's gonna be gravel?
Yes, sir.
Other than the number, what makes New Image better than the other 2? Or is it just
They met the specifications. It's a known commodity, and they were the lowest bid. And we've done work with all of them. Clausen has done quite a bit for us, and we know the New Image people have done good work too.
Okay. But I just knew that we knew that Clausen, so I was curious why I was just curious.
So we know they do good work and they're the low bid, and they are the best bidder.
Perfect.
No questions?
I think we're good.
All right, if there are no questions, then it is recommended that the city council approve hiring New Image Construction to rebuild the West Alley for an amount not to exceed $17,912.50.
So motion.
Pete, so motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Brent seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This next item is the 2025 Senior Center Grant application. As you'll recall, for the past few years, the city has worked with the Senior Guard Center on making an application to Sedgwick County. Sedgwick County does annual funding grants to local senior center organizations throughout the county, and the application for program year 2025 is due to them by June 28th of this month. And so this evening, myself and Amanda Treadwell are presenting this application tonight. The application is in the agenda packet, so you have it for review this evening. Again, this is to fund the senior group here in Valley Center, formerly known as the Senior Center, the Goddard Senior Center. How this grant program works is this acts as a pass-through. So the Senior Center, once they receive funding from Sedgwick County, they turn in receipts into the city, and then we submit those to Sedgwick County for reimbursement. And so for year 2025, the Senior Goddard Group, the Goddard Senior Center Group is looking to advance to the next level of funding, which is a level 1 funding at $18,000. This will allow for the Goddard Senior Center to have a part-time paid director, as well as increase the level of activities available to the Goddard area seniors. And I would reference there is the packet that was handed out to the bench before the start of the meeting this evening. I'll turn a little bit of time over to Amanda to go over that. But again, the $18,000 request that is being made to Sedgwick County will allow for more funding and more opportunities for the local senior group. So again, looking at that $18,000 level, they are looking to operate between the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, excluding city holidays, as well as hiring a part-time director. And also along with this, the senior group is requesting funding from the city in the amount of $28,000, with the understanding that $18,000 grant from the county would be reimbursed back to the city. So if you look at that $28,000, actually $10,000 would be allocated from local city funds. But with that, I'm going to invite Amanda to come up and go over the packet that she put together, and then the two of us will address questions that council may have at this time.
So I apologize I didn't get the packet early enough to see it on the screen, but you guys all have it in front of you, and I'll go through it pretty quickly. It was made more for you to have a kind of a baseline as we continue to grow the senior center and the full presentation. So, and the reason that we're asking for some changes is in March 2024, we hosted our first senior forum that had 40 attendees. We surveyed current members, non-members, and gave everyone a new senior needs assessment. So you'll see the charts. It shows you from the surveys that we had, the areas of opportunity that we had is essential support and assistance, help to better manage specific aspects of their lives, and exposed to new interests and perspectives. So those were the areas of opportunity that we could definitely improve in. The rest of them were 80% and percentage. The next page is their popular interests and activities. Exercise was very popular, educational workshops, social activities, healthcare, and guest speakers and performances was their top interest. The next page, you can see the Goddard Senior Center membership trending. So in 2022, there were 20 active seniors that participated in the senior group. In 2023, we had 59. As of this week, we are at 116 with what our efforts have been the last 6 months. So you can see below, I also, with the grant, we have to track everything, including zip codes. So it's a lot of time, but you can see we're tracking, every year you have to do the applications again, or membership registrations, so you can see how much we're going up every month. Every month we're getting new additional members. And to qualify for a member, there's no cost, it's free. They just have to attend at least one activity a year. The next page, just to give you a little bit of information on Goddard, the population is 5,991 according to World Population website. 584 are seniors that are 60 and above, and 896 are 55 and above. That's in our community. Also, and that's just Goddard city limits. That's not including the seniors that attend that are in our outer limits and school district. I don't know how to get that information. I'm still working on that. But 216 more will be 55 in the next 5 years. So we'll be adding that many more seniors. And then an additional 384 more within the next 10 years. So you can see, like, we need to get ahead of this because we're going to be adding a lot more seniors in our community. The next page, so our proposal and request is that you approve for us to apply for the $18,000 grant from Sedgwick County Department of Aging. We're creating a monthly newsletter, and our first publication will be July 2024. The importance of that is a lot of our seniors are not on social media. A lot of our seniors don't regularly get out and attend things because they don't know that we have options available. So that newsletter, we're getting addresses for our seniors in our community. We're gonna mail them that newsletter that will let them know what we do have and what we are offering and who to contact for any needs and services. Establish a Goddard Senior Center Advisory Board. So that advisory board will serve basically in helping make the decisions for the Goddard Senior Center and help with leading the director of the Senior Center. So we'll be working with the city on creating that advisory board. As of January 1, we're asking that a part-time director be hired to start as of January 1 and open the Goddard Senior Center for 4 to 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 2. And we'll increase the Senior Center activities, special events, and educational programs. There's 3 categories. Baseline is 3 right now that we have to do. We're going to increase to 7. Special events will go from 4 to 10, and educational will go from 8 to 35. So you can see it's a pretty big jump in the activities. The reason that we're requesting that we hire a part-time director and open the Senior Center is these are requirements for us to get the $18,000 grant from the county. Right. The next page, this is just to let you know, you'll see this when we get the actual contract for the $18,000. So the first step is for us to submit the grant application to the county, and then they'll review it and get back to us. But you can see, again, it talks about the requirements. It also talks about, as a senior center, we have to be able to provide information and assistance to eligible participants, and there's a list of those under the goals. You can see that case management, employment, forms assistance, resources from legal assistance, nutrition, shopping, transportation, wellness screenings, and more. So these are all things that are required part of that grant as well, and are our current requirements too. But right now it's kind of hard to do those things because we don't have anybody that's at the senior center on a regular basis to be able to provide that. So this will help us with having that part-time director. The next couple pages is just more about the grant, just letting you know, as the part-time director, and this is number 4 under objectives, that they will provide an entry point for aging services, be informed on aging services within the community, schedule activities, presentations, and events. They'll do all the tracking. They'll provide the specific numbers of activities. They're going to be the person that's going to actually help you make sure that the grant requirements are met. Increase the senior center membership and expand services and activities, and just be that advocate for the seniors in our community and get them any services or needs that they may have, and get them connected to anything that we may not have that may be outside of Sedgwick County. Again, this is more for you to look over at a later time, but has all the goals because we'll be getting the grant application or the grant contract later. But I do want to bring your attention to the page that has outcomes. So our goal is to have 75% of participants surveyed that will indicate that the baseline, educational, and special events provided at the senior center has increased or changed their knowledge, skills, or behavior. So just like we did the senior forum, we'll continue to do that and continue to survey our seniors to make sure that we're measuring our results and making sure that we're being successful in what we're doing. And that also allows us to make sure that, you know, the activities and things that we're doing are tailored to what their interests are and their needs to get them out and get them active. So the goals that I put in the application was to enhance the quality of life of seniors by keeping them informed, connected, engaged with their community at the Goddard Senior Center, to create, print, share digitally, and mail the Goddard Senior Center newsletter called the Goddard Senior Connection. And our goal is to increase the Senior Center membership to 200 by the end of the year. Also to establish the Senior Center open 4 to 6 hours, increase the baseline activities, and then have, I did a little bit higher one, but 80% of participants participating in activities will say they've improved or maintained a healthier lifestyle. So the next page is just a sample of the Clearwater newsletter, so you can kind of see what they have in their newsletter. Also, the next page is just showing you all the different ways that we're trying to reach our seniors through the Goddard Senior Connection Facebook page that was created, Goddard Glance, TS News, What's Up Goddard, Goddard Community Events, and our Main Street Markets. We're attending every Main Street Market and being available for seniors to sign up. The next 2 pages is just to show you what we're advertising online, and this is a sample of our monthly calendar. So you can see in July, we have Bunko, we have Coffee Chat with the Mayor coming up Monday, May 1st, and we have miniature golf on July 25th, that they're all very excited about. Also on July 22nd, we stepped up to host all of the senior center directors in Sedgwick County for their senior summit at our Goddard Senior Center. So we'll be hosting them for our quarterly senior summit. The next thing is just to show you, here's all the different baseline activities and special events that we are looking to add. It won't be all of them, but these are our options. So you can see that we already have a plan to increase the activities to meet the grant requirements. There's some pictures to show you some examples of cardio drumming for seniors, arts and crafts, dancing, miniature golf. They're all, again, a goal to get them active in our community. The next page is just some educational activities. That's probably the biggest thing. Educational is very important for them. SCAM, SHAMS, and SPAM, Aging 101, fall prevention, downsizing, and Medicare. The director will have to be trained on some medical resources from Sedgwick County, so we'll actually be able to do consultations and consulting with them for their medical needs. And that's free training by the county. So the next page, the important page, is financial considerations. So we've set a $30,000 total budget. That's $28,000 from the city of Goddard, $18,000 to be reimbursed by the grant, we hope, and $2,000 that we are committing to fundraise or have donations for the Goddard Senior Center. I did give you a graph for the budget to show you that personnel, we're hoping to be $18,000, office and supplies $4,000, but that includes like stamps, printing, binders, and other supplies. Activities and programming, which is like instructors, equipment, paid activities, events, programs, trips, and more, that's $8,000 to equal that $30,000. The next page is a sample of the current 2024 expenses to show how I've spent or planning to spend the $6,000, because we're spending every penny this year. And the next page is economic and community impact. So the why, basically. Senior centers play a vital role in enhancing the quality of life for older adults and contributing positively to the economic and social fabric of our communities. Financially supporting our senior center not only addresses immediate community needs, but also aligns with broader goals for promoting social equality, health, and community vitality. It demonstrates proactive planning and investment in our city's future as a livable and inclusive community for all residents. 14.9% of our city population is seniors 55 and up. So real quick, the next pages are actual personal letters from some of our seniors that they wrote because they didn't want to come up and share and be respectful of your time. And there's a couple really good quotes for you to look at. The next page. But lastly, I want to bring up Sheila Grayson. We're lucky to have her. She moved here from Dodge City last year. She sat on the Ford County Council of Aging, and she managed Meals on Wheels for several years. So I'm going to have her share just a couple minutes of her when she moved to Goddard and us not having the services that she had in Dodge City, and that impacted her and her why we should have it.
Hello there. I'm new. Welcome.
Right into our community.
Yeah, so we moved here in October, and we moved. I just want to give you a little bit of an outline as a new old person. We had to learn how to navigate the system, and one of the systematic problems was we didn't know how to pay our bills. We didn't know who was going online, who was sending us in the mail, and as a community center for seniors, or community information center as it could be, that could be a stopping point for people who first come to town, who can learn that. The other thing that I was shocked about is that there's no medical clinic here.
Yeah.
You know, and so that surprised me. I'm just telling you this stuff. I don't expect you to go out and build one tomorrow. But the other thing is that with the senior center, it is not just about making sure they have fun, making sure they do this. It's making sure they're okay. There are, we live in, if I need to tell you where it's at, it's behind Ace Hardware. We live behind the Hardware in Cloverleaf East, and there are a lot of Southwest Kansas people, older people in that community. I don't know that you know that. I don't know, because if people are moving here for the medical, that's why we came. So, Having said all that, I do like living here. I do like being involved in stuff like this. And I hope that you will surely consider making a difference for that aging population. I'm going to tell you one sad story. I can't go without one sad story. When you do Meals on Wheels, the rule is that you make contact with the recipient to make sure they're on their feet, they're fine, and everything's cool. Well, we had a driver that showed up at this gentleman's house on a Monday, and she called me, she said, something's wrong, he's not around. And so I come to find out that my helper, because I was out on a route on Friday, they did not locate Mr. Spencer. And so they sent, he said, oh, just leave it on the porch, he'll come get it. This was this older gentleman that worked at Meals on Wheels. Well, by Monday, he had laid there in his house. He had fallen down on Thursday night. And he was alive still. But his kids had to move him out of Dodge and move him down here to a home. But that's what we need. I need someone, if I become alone in my house, I want someone to check on me. So I don't have to lay there. Okay, will you want to shut up? I don't know. Okay. All right, it's a pleasure seeing names. That's all I got.
Thank you.
So the important part with Sheila is I met Sheila at our Thanksgiving feast, and that was the first time that they've been out to the community. But what's important is we have resources, we have volunteers. We have a list of like 47 volunteers that's willing to help us with the senior center. But I do think you need a part-time director to make sure that what we've already started continues and we can grow that. And like she said, we have the ability to reach out to these seniors in our community to make sure that they're okay, make sure they have the resources and the services that they need. I'm willing to volunteer through the end of the year, but I need an exit plan to be able to make sure that we can balance that to where there is somebody that can come in here and actually be there in the senior center and get all of this stuff done and carry that on to hopefully even a full-time position in the future. But this is that next step that I feel that we're ready for. So that last page is our ask is, just as a summary, is to approve the $28,000 Goddard Senior Center budget for 2025 for City of Goddard, approve the $18,000 grant request application, allow us to designate the senior center, or community center as a senior center Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 2 in 2025, and then hire a part-time director in 2025. Any questions? And I do want to say a big thanks to Karen Keatley. Karen, this is my other half. I could not do this without her from a volunteer perspective. She does all the tracking in person and the classes, and then gives it to me, and I do all of this stuff on the backside for the grant.
Questions?
That's a great presentation.
Thank you.
Did you see it says 55 here? I'll say yes immediately because he's joining you up with it.
Oh, he's already a member.
I'm getting close. Let's get you falling out.
Okay,
There's the motion.
there's the motion.
Sorry, two quick questions. First of all, what is your plan for hiring that director? There are not very many Amanda Treadwells in the world. So that's going to be big shoes to fill.
Well, as I shared with our city administrator and city administrator assistant, I am not a senior center director. I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just good with organizing and planning and that type of stuff and events. And I love this just because my grandmother is 84, lives with me, and for 6 years that I lived in the community, I didn't even know there was even senior exercise, and that's because it wasn't shared anywhere. So that's kind of where my passion comes from. So I offered to help with as much as the city will allow me to do in trying to find another director and whatever training we can help with getting them. I've talked to Suffolk County, Stacy from Suffolk County Department of Aging, and she said there were some resources for us to, training that wouldn't cost anything for us to send them to. So I'll help in any way that I can. Sheila's offered to help us as well. and trying to find somebody, but, I'm confident that we can find somebody within our community or even outside our community.
Sweet. Second question, less fun. Let's say we approve this, and then for some reason don't get the grant. Do we eat that extra 18,000?
I think the question would probably be best directed toward our assistant city administrator.
The short answer being yes, but the fact that we would look at this on a year-by-year basis, so if they don't get the grant, then we would obviously do some analysis when putting together the 2026 budget.
Sure.
So this is how it works, you give hard questions to this guy?
Yes.
Also, to let you know, I did my due diligence. I toured and visited several senior centers and interviewed their directors, asked about this whole process. So if the going up in the grant, if it doesn't get approved, we would still get the 6,000. It would just be the difference between the 6 and the 18.
Sure.
But in talking to them, I think we have a very solid application. And the data and the numbers speak for themselves as far as the need in our community, and that we are prepared to support and meet all the requirements. So I'm hopeful.
It's not a competition, it's not competitive. If you meet the parameters, you get the grant.
I think the big thing is just, is there enough budget funding with Sedgwick County, which I've heard that they're looking to increase, so.
Cool.
That's my hope.
How would one go about contacting you that wish to jump into the volunteer and be active in the organization?
So we have a Facebook page called Goddard Senior Connection that has my contact information and Karen Keatley's contact information. We're both the contacts. And I'm happy to give that information to you as well. So they can contact us and we'll be happy to help.
Last question, can one of y'all teach me how to play bunco? Because that looks fun, but.
No, you have to be a second Tuesday
of the
month.
So, fun fact, the Goddard Senior Center, we cannot turn anybody away. So,
Let's go.
you are welcome to join at any age. We just track the numbers for 55 and over for the grant purposes.
Good.
You gotta hit 21 first.
We actually have 5. We have 5, including myself, that are not 55 or over that are members. So you're welcome to come. You'll be 55 one day.
I'll get you.
I think there's been a tremendous amount of work done on this, and I think that even if we did not ever get a grant, this is something that we should fund as a city. The needs in our community like this have been long unmet, and I think working on this in conjunction with the meals, those are the right things that we need to be doing, and they're good things.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm sure we'll get the grant. If we don't, we march on, and we will be fine. I will entertain a motion to approve the recommendation with all the different little pieces to it that need to be approved.
Can we just read that?
This is fine.
This is fine here.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 SCDAD grant application and dedicate $28,000 to the Goddard Senior Center in the 2025 city budget.
I second.
Keith makes a motion, Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You guys are great. Next item.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, it's a pleasure to once again address you guys here on this agenda item. I got the next two, so I'm going to get us back on track here. The rural water districts and the homeowner here, that's a long address, so I'm going to try to get through it. 19841 West 6 have inquired with the city about releasing territory to rural water district 4 to allow them to serve water to the property. Rural Water District has a water line located substantially closer to the homeowner's property than the current city water line in the area of the homeowner. In the event that the city does have a main go across this property, we have the right to reacquire that area and serve them water. The city would agree at that time that it assumes the service to the above described property would have to purchase whatever improvements have been made. So you're talking maybe a meter can, a little service line, couple of other apparatuses, minimal cost. The purpose of this agenda item is to consider authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement attached, allowing Rural Water District to serve the water to the homeowner. The Rural Water District already met as a group and approved the contract. If you look here, this little red outline That is where the subject property is located. Our main runs up through here. This is several hundred feet away from that property. Rural Water District has a main that runs right across there. So, financials none. Legally, it's been approved as to form by the city attorney's office, and here's the recommendation.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Make the motion approved. Authorize the mayor to execute the contract attached for Exhibit A.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Moving on.
Ordinance establishing a third regular monthly city council meeting. Due to our community's growth and the coinciding growth of business items requiring action of the governing body, staff suggests the governing body codify scheduling a third regular council meeting. The additional meeting would be held on the fourth Tuesday of each month at noon. Our goal would be to keep the meeting to no greater than 1 hour. Just like our regular council meetings held on the first and third Mondays of the month, the Tuesday meeting would be open to the public. Purpose of the agenda item is consider executing the ordinance attached to Exhibit A. The first Tuesday meeting would occur July 23rd at noon. These evening meetings are running real late. This one likely no exception. So this will help shorten our evening meetings a bit, help us have more time with the city council so we can work on some pretty significant initiatives that are coming up over the next 1 or 2 years. And it times out real well with budget season lurking here in the near future. So this was something that we talked about over the last couple of council meetings. So at the direction of the governing body, staff presents to you the ordinance put together by Morris Lang, small publication fee. We got the waiving of the reading of the ordinance and then considering to adopt the ordinance.
Questions?
Craig and I talked about this earlier today, but because of my job, I only have a 45-minute lunch break, so I can't promise you guys I could be here in person because I work 20 minutes away from the city. I would be able to try to call in for the majority of that meeting, but just for your knowledge, ahead of time, I cannot promise to attend all of these.
We've heard your call-ins before. Man,
I would
kids in the background.
Oh yeah, that's a good time.
There's some specific language that goes on back there.
You're in a different position in terms of work now. He's in a different position of work now, so it'll be an issue. Good job. It'll be good. It'll be okay.
You could always quit.
I just started. I've been there for 2 weeks.
Okay. Suggestions. Any other real questions?
I remember that.
Yeah.
You want me to repeat it?
No. That's okay.
I'm just kidding.
I'd entertain a motion to have someone make a motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
Make a motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
Okay, Keith's made the motion to waive the reading. And a second?
Second.
Aubrey seconds. Okay. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Now entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance attached in Exhibit A.
Thank you.
I second.
Brett makes a motion, Krista seconds. Roll call on,
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Fish,
Yes.
Councilmember Trailer,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Lee.
yes.
That would be ordinance number 963.
Are you guys excited to get to see us more now?
Yes, we are very excited.
All right, good evening again. Very excited to present this RFP for your approval tonight. As you'll recall, earlier this year, I wasn't here, but city staff at the time and city council met to create some new goals for 2024. One of those goals being working on the creation of new signage throughout the community. So this RFP is in regards to for two what are referred to as monument signs, so larger style signs that will be located at two main entry points into the city of Goddard. So these two entry points being at Maple and 167th, and then at Kellogg or US 54/400 and 167th Street. These are two very high traffic daily high traffic count points, and would serve as great welcome entry points to visitors and residents coming into Goddard. So as part of the RFP, what we're requesting from bidders is that they submit, and the RFP is included in the agenda packet tonight, but they submit at least 2 preliminary designs, which would be reviewed by you and select one of those designs, and then work with creating a contract, and then have this firm take care of the final design, the construction, and eventual installation of these 2 entry signs into the community. So these are some examples. Because of the nature of these 2 locations, city staff is recommending more vertically oriented signs. These are just a few examples. This isn't to say that we're recommending these materials or even this style, but just to get people focused on what we're looking at this time. So these are just some very rough ideas that they could go off of. But again, when we receive the proposals, once we have a chance to review those will be presented to you at the August 19th City Council meeting. And we will have a discussion from there and hopefully be able to choose one of these preliminary designs and go from there in the process. So again, nothing financial at this time, nothing legal, but again, our request tonight is to ask that you approve the RFP so that we can start soliciting proposals. We'll be sending these out to area sign companies as well as posting this RFP on the city's website for ad as well. I'll stand for any questions.
Questions?
Do we eventually want to add more than just those 2?
So I think, yeah, definitely as we're looking at future expansion, these 2 entry points make sense on the east side of the city. As a separate project, I will let you know that I'm working on wayfinding signage, so smaller signs to be strategically located at various intersections that would help people find their way to downtown, to the Genesis Sports Complex, to the schools. So that is a separate project that I'll be bringing at a future meeting. But again, this is an initial first stage as 2 main entry points into the city on the east side, welcoming people into Goddard.
I think Craig had mentioned earlier today that the amount of traffic that passes those entry points is significantly higher on the east side of the community than on the west side, but eventually we'll hopefully have the same type of things on the west side, but starting strategically where the highest traffic counts are makes good sense.
I just think I'd love to see one eventually on the North 199. A lot of people come. I don't know, I was just thinking out loud. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. This is just an initial step. Obviously, we don't know what the cost for these is going to be at this time. It really depends on the materials, how high it is. I'm assuming we'll definitely want to have it lit at night, and so we'll need to take these, of course, into financial considerations when we receive the proposals. But we thought that these would be the first 2 really good locations to highlight the community.
I like it.
Everybody good?
Man, this is a heck of an entrance, man.
Thank you.
I like it.
I entertain a motion to approve the recommendation. You're
I
making
make a motion to approve the RFP and direct city staff to advertise and collect proposals.
Second.
Chris makes the motion, Brent seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Ryan. Appreciate it. Moving along. Maple Tree rezoning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Mike, good to see you. Kind of get loosened up, ready? Middle on.
This itemized seven, so this is the Maple Tree rezoning case number 24-3. So, quick background about the company. Submitted a rezoning application for half of the road on Public Street for land generally located on 199 Springfield in the southwest corner. The land is around 35 acres and will be platted in 88 lots. Developer would like to build single-family detached housing on this land as well as duplexes and several twin homes. The land was annexed into the corporate agreement from December 18th, 2023, and during the April 8th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission informed the developer that it would view the project favorably should it contain the following layout, with single-family lots being around 55 to 62.5%, duplex lots 24, 27.3%, twin homes at 9, which is 10.2%. Furthermore, during the April 15, 2024 City Council meeting, the governing body informed that it would also view the project favorably should it contain the above layout in the following, as mentioned before, ratios. On June 10, 2024, the Planning Commission held a public hearing after which they deliberated and decided that unanimously approved the rezoning application 6-0. So the planning commission approved the rezoning with a motion requesting the city council consider adopting a restrictive covenant to impose a restriction on the developer to abide by the ratios of land uses with two-family lots being number 8 and 33. So we're going to go through the golden rules. You guys have seen this before. This is under Article 13, Amendment Section 100H.1-17. Feel free to stop me at any time. You guys have read this before, but I'm going to run through it. Like I said, stop me anytime if you have any questions. But what is the existing uses and their character and condition on such a property in the surrounding neighborhoods? The property for consideration of rezoning is classified as farming, ranch land with no improvements. The land use to the east is single-family residence detached, farming ranch operation with improvements, and farming ranch land with improvements. The south, the land use is farming ranch operation with improvements, single-family residence detached. To the west, the land use is farming ranch land with ag improvements, and to the north, the land use is farming ranch operation with improvements. What is the current zoning subject property matter of the surrounding neighborhood motion to request property for consideration of rezoning zone R1 single-family residential. Land use to the east is zone RR rural residential, which is the county classification. To the south, the land use zone R1 single-family residential. To the west, the land use is zone RR rural residential. To the north, the land use is zone RR rural residential. Is the length of time the subject property has remained undeveloped vacant is zone factors into consideration? So no, I think the land development, market trends were the interest behind the zoning. Would the request correct an error in application of these regulations? So no, under 4. 5, is the request caused by change or change conditions in the area of the subject property? And so what is the nature and significance of change and change conditions? So yes, the high residential growth is causing need for different housing types that can be easily integrated into the changing markets. This is why developers ask for 3 different housing types. We saw having success in Cloverleaf, and so he wants to sort of thing like that. Do that with sewage disposal and water supply and all the necessary public facilities, including street access, exist or can be provided to serve uses that be permitted on such a property. So yes, water should be readily available and in close proximity. Lots of questions will be brought to the site through the petition process, and of course we have lateral streets and lateral mains that would go through the petition process as well. The subject property need to be platted or replatted or the dedications made of right-of-way easements and access controls or road setback lines. So if the land is currently wrong, it needs to be platted. So if you remember, the Eden Shade was 5 acres that are being platted into 3 lots. This was the remaining 35 that are being platted into 88. With screening planning necessary for existing or potential uses of such property. So no screening is required for multifamily or commercial. Multifamily is considered 3 units or greater under Article 2.1 of classifications and subject regulations. 9, is a suitable land or buildings available or not available for development and currently have the same zoning as requested. So R2 counts about 8.4% of all zoned acres, roughly 269 existing acres. If approved, it would count for about 9.6% of 390 acres. If the request is for business or industrial uses, our such uses needed to provide for more services and employment opportunities. So this is not applying because we're talking about residential, not talking about industrial or commercial at this time. Is the subject property suitable for uses to the current zone which has been restricted? So yes, R1 is allowed for single-family detached housing and duplex and entry homes as a conditional use, and conditional use is an acceptable use with conditions. So they would have to go through a conditional use process, which we require for every single lot. So instead of doing that, we do rezoning. To what extent will the removal of restrictions I give approval of the zoning request detrimental effect on properties in neighborhoods? So introduction of more cars could cause queuing issues on 189 in the future, kind of similar to what we saw on 183. Would the request be consistent with the purpose of the zoning district classification and intent with these regulations? So a district established to permitted medium density 2-family dwelling units with both public sewage and water supply to allow certain community facilities, not intended generally for single-family residential uses except in single area. Staff believes this being in conformance with the zoning district's purpose, and the single family is being introduced, generally speaking, as a way to sort of offset the 2-family as generally being requested and to spread the special to more equally pro-life condition. Article 1.01 of the purposes and regulations, and this is verbatim. A, to promote public health, safety, morals, comfort, and welfare, and protect and control the status of redevelopment and new development. To establish a variety of zone district classifications according to use of land ability to vary uses and standards whose interrelation with boundary zones and compatible patterns of land uses of other areas to enhance value of each zone. Regulate and restrict the location, use, and appearance of building structures of land within each district camper zone for residential, commercial, industrial, and other purposes, including floodplains. Regulate and restrict the height, number, and stories, and size of buildings and structures, including the distance from any lot, street, or right-of-way, and the percentage of each lot may be occupied by buildings and other structures, including the size of yards, courts, and other open areas. Protect the property and historical values and conserve energy and natural resources to provide for adequate light and air and acceptable noise levels to avoid undue concentration of population, vehicular traffic, and prevent overcrowding the use of land and public facilities. Facilitate the adequate provision of transportation, water supply, sewage disposal, schools, parks, and other public improvements. Provide adequate public notice on proposed changes in these regulations, zoning maps, and opportunity to be heard of such zoning matters. Establish and provide procedures for the board of zoning appeals to consider appeals, variances, conditional uses, and exceptions to these rules, and to develop proposed policies and proposals
of the comprehensive plan for the zoning jurisdiction. So staff believes it's the development, generally speaking, meets conformance to intent purposes of the regulations as laid out above. 14 is requesting conformance to the comprehensive plan as a further enhancement implementation of the plan. So page 16, comprehensive plan, goal to promote continued residential development. So you see this every time we talk about zoning, especially for residential. Goal to promote continued residential development and larger tax base and strengthen the municipal capacity to provide quality public facilities. Page 17, the comprehensive plan outlines housing objectives include, but not excluding, provide for multifamily development, retirement housing, and other specialized housing as required to meet the needs of defined use groups within the community. And page 60, the comprehensive plan shows the future land use map of this area defined as future objectives. So what is the nature of support opposition to the request? So general support comes with desire to increase the tax base of the city as well as diversified housing stock. The general opposition comes with desire for the city to stay relatively unchanged its land use composition or relative size of general opposition against the growth with the possibility of growing small town atmosphere. Is there any information or any recommendation with requests available from professional persons or persons with related expertise to be helpful in this evaluation? So there's a lot of information related to housing and housing introduction and the real estate market, etc. So generally speaking, I like to refer to this as just kind of an idea of looking at. But housing is predicated on supply and demand. Generally speaking, cities want to try and provide as much supply as necessary to keep up with demand. A short supply can drive up prices on the existing housing market and until it's skew price equilibrium. So this is price equilibrium over here. So if the demand increases, which this is a downward and the supply is upward, this is quantity and this is price. So if demand shifts to the right and the supply does not increase the quantity provided, then the equilibrium will start going up. And it skews the equilibrium and the price goes up. So housing prices will continue to rise. If demand increases, it goes to the right, and you don't provide enough quantity to offset the demand. By comparison, there's a relative gain in public health, safety, general welfare, outlay, loss, and property value, a hardship imposed upon the applicant by not approving the request. So development is for residential use and does not pose a serious threat to health, safety, or welfare by its use. This is the property in question. This is 199th and Maple. Evening shade was up here. This is at 35 acres. This is a sketch. This is not a plat, so just there will be a plat in the future. This is a rezoning, so we're just looking at land uses right now. This is a general layout of what they're proposing. Attention pond will be in the center over here. This is evening shade down here. And this is the layout, generally speaking. This might change, but this is what they're looking at generally. This is a single family over here. This is the twin homes over here. And this is the duplex cul-de-sac over here. It is recommended the City Council both waive the reading of the ordinance and voice vote and approve the rezoning for the Maple Tree Development Zoning Case Number Zone -3 along with the restrictive covenant as presented for voice plus roll call. At this point, I'm entertaining any questions, comments, thoughts on the matter. I do think Bob is here, but I'm not sure I have enough time to think, but presumably maybe what probably back sometime.
Mr. Mayor, before entertaining comments from the bench, could I add on to my colleague's presentation?
Sure, please do.
So I took some time to go back and look at our council meeting where we discussed this back in April, and the governing body had asked a couple of things of staff. One was they wanted a report that outlined just kind of the status of all the two-family development that's already cleared entitlements, where it's at in construction, what's been certified for occupancy, have building permits been pulled, etc. So that report, we put it back at the top of the city council's inbox. So it's a couple of months outdated. I think maybe 5 to 10% though, it's pretty accurate. And then there was also a question, I think it came from you, Mr. Mayor, that you'd asked, it'd be nice to know, how far behind are we as far as how many units could we have the potential to build out and still successfully fill. We also shared with the City Council a housing study completed by a firm. We sent that out last Friday, so wouldn't have been expected you to read that by now. It's pretty comprehensive, and you had a whole agenda packet to go over this weekend, but that firmly answered the question that you had asked regarding, how far behind might we be on stock for these types of things. So I just want to note that you guys have those materials at your disposal as you consider this agenda item.
Okay, questions, comments, concerns?
So we're just approving the zoning at this point, right? And no plots to come?
Yeah, so the zoning is just to meet the land use composition. If you approve this with the restrictive covenant, then we'll hold them to the ratios presented. And then plating would be in the future, and so you would see a final plat where there would be a layout with reserves and easements and lots to go with it.
I do have concerns about adding more duplexes to what we currently have. Just driving around, there are several that aren't even built yet, and is there, what's the occupancy rate of the duplexes? And I mean, there are a lot that still aren't built, and they're maybe a couple of years out, and if we add another set, it's a concern.
Sure.
Tying into that is affordability, right? I mean, I don't know, I guess it's a time to rent. I mean, can you not buy a house for under $250,000 anymore?
Maybe by all
Yeah, I mean, but that's just where my train of thought goes. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to have some more affordable housing coming, you know.
I think what you're seeing is a general trend that happens periodically, but when rates increase and housing prices increase in tandem, so they'll increase at the same time, and then that drives people out of the ownership market, or those who can afford will try to stay in the ownership market, those who can't afford to go to the rental market. So then if the rental market increases, then people are going to build more duplexes to compensate for the rental market. That's kind of what you see. There's also, when you have young families that are moving in, if they can't afford a house immediately, they're going to rent until they can afford a house. And so there's a lot of different factors that drive the rental market, but the big factor being that everyone wants to get in the Goddard School District. So if you can't afford a house in the Goddard School District, you're going to rent until you can. And so that's why the developers are presenting duplexes to offset that rental demand.
You know, reading some of the information that's been given us the last few days, had a little drive time today to drive back from south of Pratt, and you know, I've been wanting to sit down with the planning commission and have maybe a more thorough discussion about the configuration of what our city's going to look like. You know, part of the thing that we talk about is that increasing the rooftops and population density will hopefully bring and drive retail. That's a general thing that I think has happened in other places, but it's not necessarily, there's no necessarily a guarantee that will happen. For whatever reason, just in looking at some of the statistics that WAMPO provides for the different communities around the ring around Wichita, our community's average income is higher than several of the other communities. And part of that is a reflection of the structure of our housing stock. We don't have any apartments. We don't have a large group of mobile homes, and people in different price ranges, because of affordability, can afford different types of places to live. So for whatever reason, over the last 20 years, this community has grown based on being a single residential suburb to Wichita. The interesting thing is the statistics about people traveling out here to work that don't live out here. That there's a lot of conflicting issues, I think, that it's just hard to wrap our hands around it. And I think that there's a general consensus from when I was running for council that people think that live here that we've got enough duplexes. We don't even have them built yet. And if Bridger, when that builds out, and I'm sure those are nice, there's an article talking about that, that's 145 units, so that's basically 290 living units. If you put 3 people in each unit, it's going to increase the population by almost 900. If you go to 4, that little area there off of Maple, there's going to be 1,000 people living there. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's growth in our community. That's a third of what we have on the books. The other thing that I'm concerned about is the proximity of the duplexes that are, and things that are being built by the city of Wichita moving in our direction. Most people think that those duplexes south of Eisenhower High School are part of the Goddard community. That's not Goddard. But it's right there at our doorstep. And there are other developments that are being proposed and that have been approved in Wichita that dot along the western, or the western part of Wichita that are right on our doorstep. And I know there's a housing shortage, but to get somebody to actually quantify that with a number that's actually makes sense, people are still grappling with that. I know that some of those Wampo and different places that's been mentioned in the last couple of months, meetings, I think it was one of the county commissioners, and they're working on a population study. Well, the person that's doing that at WSU talks about the qualifications for that study. I speak up and say, hey, what about the school district increase in growth? And he discounted that as a factor. Well, that's the main factor of Goddard's growth. And he made note of that and said he'd like to meet with us. But how can you tailor a population study that fits all these different needs in all the different communities around us? I mean, we've got to get these numbers right. I mean, we have a responsibility to the community to handle the funding in this. We're extending quite a large sum of debt, and as long as times are good, everybody's happy. But there's this thing that cycles in the economy, and recessions sometimes create real pain for communities. And I guess I'm kind of at the point that before we approve anything, I don't want to turn this down at this point, but I would like to go ahead and have that meeting with the planning commission, and where we can sit down and have a real serious discussion about what type of city and what the configuration of our population is going to look like. I mean, maybe it's okay we build some more duplexes. Maybe we need to build apartments, but maybe there's a consensus that we don't, our city doesn't need to be configured that way. The connection between our growth and retail development isn't necessarily coupled together. And I'm not advocating for a position at this point, but I think we need to be really serious about what we're doing here in terms of the next steps. We've doubled the population of our community based just about what's on the books. And we're going to be pressed on infrastructure with our section roads, and we were fortunate to make an agreement on water with the water district, which is really helpful. But as the mayor, I want to be sure that the planning commission and us as a body, as a group, that we've thought this through as what it relates to what we're going to be doing over the next 3 to 4 years. And if we make decisions that the community doesn't like, they'll fire us. They'll hire somebody else to do this job, and that's fine. But I think we're at a point where we need to take a break, and we need to stop, and we really need to go ahead and have the discussions that we've talked about having. So I would make a recommendation that we table this and consider this until.
Mayor, real quick, I don't think you actually can table at this point.
Okay.
At this point, you have really 3 options: to approve, deny, or send back to the planning commission for clarity on their decision.
If I may,
Ryan,
I think if you're tabling it, you're effectively sending it back to the planning commission, asking them to reconsider.
Okay.
In which case, they can reaffirm their recommendation, at which time it comes back to this body for a decision.
that's kind of the point that we want to just make sure that you're aware of from the previous conversation we've had.
But in that, included in that, I would hopefully like to be able to schedule a time where we could meet jointly discuss the whole process of zoning duplexes and apartments and everything else that relates to the growth of our community. So can that be made a part of that? I mean,
You can send it back to the planning commission without a yea or a nay,
right?
basically asking them to reconsider the allocations and the inclusion of duplexes.
Okay.
If you do send it back to the planning commission, the next time they meet actually would be July 8th.
That's right.
And there was a consideration of a joint workshop being on July 8th if council was in favor of that. And perhaps that would be the best opportunity, is to avoid any kind
Right.
of consternation
Sure.
for both parties.
Right.
Okay, so if there was a decision on the part of the city council to table the matter, then, or to send it back, we would say officially, if you just send it back to the planning commission for deliberation, further consideration on July 8th. Also, pending discussion of the possibility of a joint workshop with city council. That's kind of, I feel like, the direction you guys are, or at least the direction the mayor is proposing at this point, but of course.
There's a couple of points I'd like to
Yeah.
talk about.
Go ahead, that's fine, I'll let you guys discuss that.
In response is, first of all, like, you know, when we got apartments, duplexes and stuff, yeah, that's a big, from what I hear from constituents is that, duplexes are concerned, but also equal to that are amenities. And so those go hand in hand. We have to have density in order to attract the amenities that we want for this side of our street, right? Another thing that Brent was talking about as well, I think we had talked in the past about future duplexes. Didn't we do an 80-20? Have some sort of discussion about that?
60-40. We talked last time.
60-40?
When we had that meeting here, it was 60-40.
60-40?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which nothing was ever actually agreed on, but
Right.
that was something I was gonna point out, is we had thrown out 60-40 in the past, and they went 62-37, so.
Right. Everything that you said, Mayor, I agree with you. However, I'm just afraid that if we get to the point where we stop doing forward momentum, we become stagnant. And then we see Wichita catching up. I mean, we see them hitting I mean, we're gonna get absorbed, you know, overrun.
Well, I
you
guess,
know.
Mike, what I'm getting at is, we can wait 2 weeks. We can wait 3 weeks and have a real good discussion about it. I'm not advocating stopping the momentum. I'm not saying we need to go ahead. But I think we're kind of at this point where we've talked about trying to get together and have a greater discussion. I'm not 100% convinced that the population density is, I mean, it's one of many factors. And I think there's some other factors we need to consider in terms of just the structure of our community, the way the land and the people that control the land are approaching the sale of things. There's other things to consider than just population density. But I think taking a couple weeks, take a step back, let's look at this and talk about it, and then we can go forward. I'm not advocating stopping any momentum, but I think life has never stopped, or momentum's been stopped by holding off for a couple weeks to have a good discussion.
Fair enough, I'll agree with that.
We just need to get something like we can go to the 60-40 like we were planning on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And those are things I think we haven't, with this group and the planning commission, I think it's important that it all works together. And we just haven't been able to set that time yet. There's a lot of moving parts. You think of the stuff that we've done in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But this is really key, I think, and so let's not rush. Let's take a couple weeks and let's pull everybody together and have a good conversation about it. That's my, I heard this side.
Go ahead. No, I completely get what you're saying. We haven't met since you guys joined, obviously, so that conversation needs to happen. Something that does stand out to me is the fact that they put it 6-0. Kind of like shocks me, honestly. I kind of expected there to be a little bit more, I don't know, contention across the planning commission. So My only boost of confidence is, like we had talked about, we had previously said 60-40, and I appreciate that Baughman and Paul Kelsey took that into consideration and did 62 and 37. So I think that shows they're willing to work with us at least, because that would not have been the case a year ago before that meeting. So I don't know, that's my thought.
I don't deny that they are amicable in wanting to work with us, but we, just to my point, many of the duplexes that are slated to be built haven't been built yet. And I think that we look around right now in empty fields, and you know, we're going to see in a couple of years that they're all filled with, you know, possibly duplexes. So I just would like us to wait and have some more in-depth conversation about, you know, what this looks like moving forward.
So we're saying we want to see a better vision of what.
I'm not so much vision, I just think we need to have clarity of understanding between both groups. That going forward, that we're all in agreement. And so there's concerns in the community, I think, that we need to at least address and pay attention to. And like I said, I'm not trying to advocate for turning this down. I mean, as a practical matter, 24 more duplexes is going to make or break the deal for the city. But I do think, though, having the discussion about where we go beyond this is really a critical thing. And we've got the time to do it. It works out well with the schedule. We can do that on July 8th and then move forward from there.
Our school district is probably the biggest driver for people to get out here, but we heard also that there are seniors moving from western Kansas to come and be in our community as well. So, I mean, we will have I just think that we need to pay attention to all of the options that we have. And people are moving to Goddard, and they have moved to Goddard for the last 40 years. People want to be out here. So, and to the mayor's point, there are a lot of duplexes lining the city of Goddard. So, you know, people wouldn't necessarily have to live in Goddard to live in a duplex. And there's a lot of talk about affordable housing. Some of the duplex prices, frankly, in my opinion, are not affordable for everyone to come out. So those are just all things that I think about, and in the things that people are talking to me about. So those are some definite concerns.
Well, I put a motion on the floor here. Does anyone want to second that? With the table, the discussion, and we'll send it back to the planning commission, and then we'll meet with them on July 8th.
And just for further clarity. Why not?
No, go ahead. No, let's get it right.
Since the planning commission did approve it, you need a supermajority to send it back.
Which is
No, yes, a super majority to reject.
I thought it was a supermajority, and there's just a difference of what they approved. Is that okay? So just simple majority
Like a
send back?
simple majority to
Okay,
send
simple
back
majority
for
send back.
reconsideration or whatever.
So you're proposing we sit with the planning commission as well, have another workshop?
Have a real workshop. I was at the other one. That was more of a discussion between a couple of people.
So Micah brought donuts, so we were,
Well,
we really.
I bet we could do better than donuts.
And that's gonna be July 8th.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a second to my motion.
I second.
Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
So
thank you.
let's just turn it back to the plan.
We send it back to the planning commission.
Yeah, you basically sent it back. You didn't approve it, you didn't disapprove it. So if you were to reject the recommendation, that would have required a 2/3 vote.
Thank you.
Oh, very good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Micah. Our new librarian, Carrie Morton, your first quarterly update. More fun than humans should be allowed to have.
Alright, so some of our accomplishments since the last time we presented. We had our Read Across America story time with our Women's Club, Love on the Leash program, Riverside Music program, the Mobile Mammography, Neighbors United, incentive passes for Friends and Foundation, annual Oak Street Day, Goddard Public Ladies Day Show, hired a communication specialist, hired a part-time library clerk, grant from the South Central Kansas Library System for the Lego Club, outreach services to medical lodges, and added a second story time. So just a little bit of review of those things. We did partner with the Goddard Women's Club for a Read Across America story time. We had stories and games and songs, and each child received a free book courtesy of the Women's Club. We held our first Love on the Leash program on Saturday, April 20th. It was a huge success with 61 children and adults attending. We had 5 dogs and handlers at the library and received great feedback on how lovely our library is. And the volunteers can't wait to come back this summer. They were here on Saturday. We paired it with our Saturday story time. They will come in July, and then we'll have them a couple times throughout the year. The Via Christi mobile mammography was here on April 30th. Other than taking out the power line in the back, it was pretty successful. It was a great day. I hadn't even officially started yet, and they took out the internet from it. It was fine. We had 15 appointments. They had 15 appointments scheduled for that. They do look forward to returning to Goddard. We'll just have to find a different space for them. Neighbors United was held on Saturday, April 27th. We worked on cleaning up the outside of the library. We look forward to additional improvements to the outside of the building. We held our annual Oak Street Day on May 15th. We had over 350 plus students walk over all at the same time to learn about our summer reading program. 27 families applied for a library card. Other summer reading outreach visits were made to Amelia Earhart's, Clark Gibson, Challenger, and Goddard and Eisenhower High School. We hosted the Goddard Public Ladies for their May show on May 16th. Community members as well as students from Oak Street Elementary enjoyed Officer Buckle and Gloria. They held their summer show last Thursday, June 13th, presenting with 3 Armadillos Cup. It was really good. We have 2 new hires. Nicole Judd was promoted as our new communication specialist and stepped into her new role on May 20th. Nicole Jacobson is one of our new library clerks. She started on June 11th. She will work Tuesday through Friday in the afternoons and every Saturday. We still need to hire 1 more library clerk to accommodate our current staffing needs, and actually already hired somebody, so they'll start on Monday. We received a new programming grant from South Central Kansas Library System for a Lego Club that will start this summer. The Lego Club will continue with school tracking session to accommodate our after-school traffic. We have about 15 to 20 students that walk over from either Challenger or Oak Street Discovery, so that'll give them something to do. Medical Lodges reached out in May and wanted to start outreach services again. That was something I did prior to COVID. When COVID hit, kind of had some transition there. Their activities director left. She has returned, so she called me up, and we'll be going out there on the 3rd Wednesday of every month, and we had our first visit in May. Storytime numbers are up. If you're ever in the library on Monday morning, we average about 80 plus each Monday. We added a second storytime this summer on Tuesday in the park. So looking ahead to the 3rd quarter, 2024, hire a second part-time library clerk, which I'm actually already done that. QuickBooks migration. QuickBooks is going to online, so we are working with the South Central Kansas Library System on that project, as well as an outside accounting firm to help with that migration. Obviously, our summer reading program is our big thing right now, and that we're focusing on. Board retreat. The board is going to have a retreat to work on policy updates and an employee handbook manual. Make sure we got all that squared away. New signage for the front of the building, and work on a website update to make that a little bit more user friendly, and to add some things to that as well. So I added some pictures of just things that are happening in the library. That first picture is Oak Street Day. Second picture is one of the dogs that came in for Love on the Leash. Yeah, it's great. And then the last one is Officer Buckle show that we had. And I got to meet Officer Buckle because Gail happened to be out of town in Japan, so I got to step in that role. So, bucket list.
Officer Buckle almost arrested me in the library.
My mother came to the show and I had a wig on, and she thought that I had permed my hair. So she was laughing through the entire thing. I was like, no, so yeah. That's it.
Thank you. Appreciate everything that the library does for our community. The summer reading program, the line that was there that day, I think was clear the back of the building for almost an hour. So the residents of the city of Goddard and really the Goddard community around, I think really are taking advantage of the programs and things that the library does. Appreciate all their hard work. Next batter, Angie Dunst, our chamber director. I don't know your official title. They didn't put, I didn't
President
put it
and CEO.
President and CEO and chief bottle washer, marker of Main Street plots and everything else that needs to be done as a side. Right. Very good.
Well, Mayor and Council, thank you for giving me a few moments tonight. I promise this won't take very long, not as long as my last presentation. So, just a few things to highlight from our first quarter and going into the rest of our year. So, Neighbors United was held in the last weekend of April, and we had 18 projects completed with just over 100 volunteers and 8 sponsors. Many of those were in kind. I will say we do have one other project that is yet to be completed, but we are waiting on a chamber member who's a contractor to help us complete that project. If you'll notice at the bottom of the budget there, we have $342 left, but $315 of that will be allocated to that final project. So it was a great day. We did the kickoff and the lunch at the Pavilion in Linear Park, and it turned out great. Want to give a shout out to some of our businesses, Mr. B's for providing breakfast, Starbucks for providing coffee, which is very important, and our Lions Club for cooking and serving lunch to everybody. So it was a great day, a lot of volunteers, a lot of fun. Our Main Street markets, I'm sad to say we are halfway through our season already. It's kind of crazy, but April and May were new additions this year. So we started off a little slower on attendees, but we did have 754 in April, an average stay of 81 minutes, 67 vendors. I will say I think that the numbers were a little bit lower in April because it was 95 degrees, a very rare day, and people just wanted to stay home because they weren't used to the heat. May we had 1,100 attendees, an average of 50 minutes, 54 vendors. That was Mother's Day, so it was actually a great turnout considering. June, it was just a week and a half ago, and so I don't have numbers yet, I can't pull them yet, but we did have 75 vendors, so our largest one yet. We do have 3 more, July, August, and September. So we have obviously increased the number of markets. We met our goal and exceeded it in vendors for the year. And then we are actually adding family activities to each one of the markets, and so I do want to give a shout out to the mayor and vice mayor for joining me on the water slide to highlight our tourism efforts last month, so thank you very much. Our Goddard Family Movie Night is coming up in conjunction with the library and the city. It will be this Friday in the park. We will be showing Jumanji. And then Thursday, July 25th, there will be a movie night at the pool, and we'll be showing Goonies. So this is the movie night from last year, and most of the attendees were in the pool. So our National Night Out is coming up Friday, August 9th. Vendor registration is open for that, and we do have some fun surprises for that night. Fall Festival coming up October 11th through 13th. Our theme is Down on the Farm. The carnival is returning, so there will be a carnival all 3 days. Our sponsorship and parade registration is open. Our vendor booths, for the first time ever, are sold out. So we have started a wait list, and we have about 20 people already on that wait list. It's very exciting. So the steering committee is currently meeting monthly, and we're getting closer and closer, so you'll start seeing a lot more coming out. Christmas on Main Street will be Saturday, November 30th. Our theme this year is Candy Cane Maine. All of the vendor sponsorship and parade registration is open, and we have lots of fun surprises happening with this event as well. This event is only 3 years old, and it keeps getting bigger every year, and so we're very excited about this. Last year, I think people compared it to a Hallmark movie, so we're kind of hoping that we can continue that. Some of our chamber stats for 2024 so far, we are at 120, it's actually 128 as of today. We've added 28 new members this year with a 94% retention rate. We have started forming the Economic Vitality Committee in efforts to get approved for the Main Street program, which I'll talk about in a minute. We are in the process of goal setting for that and forming that committee. Our tourism committee has met several times. We are working on a tourism guide, which will go out to all of the tourist spots, all of the rest stops in Kansas by the end of the year, we hope. And there is a tourism grant application with the state that I am in the process of completing. Our Main Street, we have joined the Kansas Main Street as an association member. I will be attending training next week with them. They offer quarterly trainings. So I will be in Winfield kind of seeing some best practices and things. We're very excited to work with Brian, the Assistant City Manager, on this application. And we are basically in the application process. We will be meeting to set a steering committee for the Main Street program. And we do have a Main Street Design Committee that is also working on a mural grant application. We had a little minor setback on that application, but we are looking for another one in this place. So still very excited about that. Some things upcoming for the year. July, we will be hosting the Sedgwick County Commission Candidate Forum at our lunch. That is on the second Thursdays of the month. In August, we'll be doing member benefit roundtables, talking about what we'll be offering to our members as benefits in the coming year. September 30th, we'll be hosting the president and owner of RSM Marketing. He'll be doing a 30-second commercial workshop. And in October, as long as there are no special committee meetings called in DC, we will be hosting Congressman Ron Estes. Our Goddard Gala is on Saturday, November 9th at Rolling Hills Country Club, and our annual meeting will be Thursday, December 12th. Information for both of those events has been sent out or will be coming out very soon. And that is all I have unless you have questions.
Can you get that back?
I don't want to break it.
Angie, thank you so much. Appreciate what the Chamber's doing. Okay. I neglected to, I have a conflict with this, so I'm excuse myself. I'm so focused on trying to read the thing that I don't even think about myself as being involved in that. So I'm gonna step out, so.
Fine. Forgot about this. All right, Madam Chair. Angie, don't break it. Well, now that the mayor's gone. I lied in the 2024 street maintenance change order number 2. A little background, the 2024 street maintenance RFP solicited bids for rehabilitation and rebuild of following streets. North Frontage Road, full depth rebuild on most of it, with a mill and overlay on the east side. Second Street, mill and overlay and asphalt cap on the gravel section. First Street was a combination full depth and mill and overlay. South Walnut was to be a mill and overlay, and North and South Main Street mill and overlay. Little bit of analysis here, little update. North Frontage Road, work is progressing well. The far east section of the road has been milled and overlaid. Construction is underway on that section. On the section between 199 and Casado, it's all more out. We're working on it. Second Street, after milling the commissary's base failure, that required a full depth rebuild of the entire street from Main Street to Walnut, requiring a change order. We had originally decided, we had planned to mill and overlay it, but as we got down into it, we found several intersections that when they came to drop off their overlay machine, the weight of the truck pushed through into the base. And so we went out, city engineer and I, and city planner Tim Powell went out today, and we discussed several options. And we finally decided that we would want to go with a full depth on that street, because if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. I don't want to put a cap on that and spot patch it, and then in 5 years have a heavy trash truck or other truck go down there and tear it up. South Walnut, during the mill and overlay, we identified base failure on a 550-foot section on the very south end from Brazos about 23rd Street. Similar situation, they were overlaying the road, their big trucks came in and essentially left ruts in the base. Something we've learned on these roads, these are older roads, they were built before we common practice to use a crushed rock face, and city engineer Harlan Porter, correct me if I'm wrong on anything, or if you have anything to add, please do. And when they were backing those trucks up to fill that milling machine, it was leaving for Hudson base. So we went ahead and decided to do a change order on that for the same reason. We don't want to do a partial job and have it come back at us. So sitting down as city staff, we talked about this, and we decided we would rather have fewer lane miles done correctly than more lane miles done that we're gonna be concerned with failure in the future. Spend the money, want to spend it right. So, and then work has not begun on First Street, Main Street yet. So what we're proposing, let me talk a little bit about what the change orders look like, and I'll tell you what we're proposing. South Walnut, it was originally bid at $138,000, a little bit more. Change order increased that cost to $198,000, a difference of $59,712. Second Street, the bid was significantly lower. It was a much shorter section, narrower road, so the original bid was $79,182. But with a full depth on that road, we're looking at a total cost of $241,344, which is a pretty large increase of $178,920. Now, the north frontage road on the section that was milled and overlaid from Vermeer to 183rd, we did have a little less cost underrun on that, so it was about $1,638 less than bid. I know that's not much, but it is a little bit different, so I thought it would inform you. So the total change order cost that we have right now is $237,002. Now the proposal is the Main Street bid came in at $276,634. That road is actually in pretty good shape. The reason I kind of want to do it because of the cracking across it, you drive it and it makes the bumps. However, the asphalt's not terrible. It's not potholing, it's not coming apart. So staff is proposing that we delay work on Main Street for at least another year. You reappropriate those funds to cover these change orders. That would cover the change order for South Walnut and 2nd Street. And that would leave an unused balance from that $276,634 bid of just under $40,000. So what we're doing is we're going to move what we're proposing is to move some of this year's proposed work around, do the stuff we have found, these surprises that we have found, fix them correctly. And moving forward in forward years, we're going to do a little bit more planning. We've learned some things here. As I said before, we learned we had asphalt on dirt, no crushed rock. It was very interesting on 2nd Street in particular. We had a pretty hard crust of asphalt on top of that. And it was amazing how little it took in those places that it's soft when those trucks got on to cause the damage. And we don't want that. We don't want to put another asphalt cap on that thing and the first time we get a big massive truck, we gotta run something. That's not what we do. So that is our proposal. Questions?
Do we have a way of knowing any other roads that were built in that era?
We did. Okay. I didn't realize that was sorry. We do. We've got a big spreadsheet that has all of our road ages on them. When our treatments were last done, what treatment was done. So we know roads that are in the similar years. And a lot of them in Old Town that way. And so as I said, we're going to regroup a little bit on our planning for future years and keep this in mind. Probably do a little more testing on the roads before we decide what we're going to go out to bid for. We can do some core samples and there's some other things that Harlan mentioned that we could do that can help us determine kind of what we looked at down below that surface layer of asphalt.
No, and if I could add, we've actually kind of put the First Street change order that was added to this project, we've kind of put that on hold to explore some other options so that we can proceed with it, maybe, and not maybe get in the predicament that we found out based upon what's happened on 2nd Street. Because yes, that's probably a street built of the same era, and there's no stabilized base under it, and I think we're finding out the asphalt's only about 4.5 inches thick, maybe. Well, by the time you mill off 2 inches, that doesn't leave much, and if you don't have good subgrade support, the truck that drive those just to build the new road break through.
Yeah. And so as Harlan said, I was going to mention that anyway, we are going to look at First Street we still intend to fix at least a portion of First Street, as much as our budget and the bid will allow. And we think we can get quite a bit of it from Main. We can get within a block of Walnut this year. And the thing that kind of drives the price up on that is those intersections need full rebuilds, and that gets kind of pricey. But again, we want to do it right. We don't want to put together we just don't want to put together a road that we don't have confidence in. We don't want to waste the money. So that's additional questions?
No, it's good, I mean, you build quality into the product, you know.
That's our thoughts anymore. And this did surprise us. We thought Second in particular was not going to be this bad.
I would just add that Second Street's gonna be closed quite a while longer, so if council approves this change order, because they're gonna go in and mill off what's left. And you gotta account for utilities and such that haven't been thus far, because it was just gonna be milled overlay. So it could be a few extra weeks, and we'll communicate to the public accordingly. The good news about it being Second Street is there's plenty of access on the north-south roads and the alleys. So some folks may have to continue to park and walk a little bit, but it's not a real long ways. If any road we're gonna have to be closed down for a little while longer, that's probably a good one for it to be. Our staff has been door to door constantly, having lots of communication with the property owners. Talk with them about things like trash service, mail service, things like that, keeping them in the loop. So pending your decision tonight, they'll hit the pavement tomorrow and have more conversations with them.
And to add what Craig said, our superintendent of this job for Pearson, he's a go-getter, he's a mover, and he's literally standing by for a text from me tonight to see what you say, because there's a chance they may have the trucks out there breaking that thing out first thing tomorrow. They've got crews standing by. So there's a possibility that may start tomorrow. To address trash, we have been picking up certain citizens' trash that they put out there. If their trash service doesn't, we're just gonna run down the road every Friday, Public Works, and grab their trash. So, and we're doing that along for certain businesses on the frontage road as well. And we go to Chamber, and we've got to make sure that the trash services out there.
That's the only one thing I appreciate about you guys, you're making accommodations. I mean, just like we're wrestling back there, the signs, taking the entrance back to those businesses, I appreciate that.
We have to. I mean, we value all of our businesses, all of our citizens, and all their opinions in their daily lives matter to us. So we don't want to be too big of a nuisance.
So I think we have an opportunity to really do this the right way. I'm not entirely shocked that it wasn't entirely done the right way the first time, just being honest. So one thing that I think is kind of a blessing in disguise is Main Street, something that we've been talking about redoing in other ways other than just this. So of all the projects to get put on hold, Main Street's not a bad one, because we plan to in the next few years have trucks on that anyways. Yeah, I mean, I think we really do have an opportunity to do it the right way this time. I understand it might cause a little bit more issues, especially with residents over there. I would just say I would appreciate over communication, not just adequate communication, because adequate communication is under communication in what we do. So make sure that we're really getting out there and making sure everybody knows what's happening. But yeah, any further discussion? Any thoughts? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the change order for South Walnut and Second Streets.
Councilwoman Hall motions.
Second.
Schrader seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Cool.
One more thing, with the pause pressed on First Street, we may be back in here talking about that relatively soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully it can wait until the July 1st council meeting, but it's possible we may have to do a quick special like we've done in the past. So.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
You get to do that yourself.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, this is item 11. This is an annexation request for 700 South United Main Street West. So Ken Wilson has approached the city about acquiring water and has agreed to be annexed into the city limits for the opportunity to connect with city water and possible city sewer in the future. The land abuts the city limits and fulfills one or more conditions for annexation prescribed in case of 12-527. City Council is considering approving an ordinance annexing certain property in corporate city limits and these one or more locations for annexation described in KC 12.7. And it's about 1.7 acres and about 76,000 square feet. This is not a question. These are the city limits. And here's the water line. Ken Wilson is the father of the other gen items that you guys considered, and I think it's Ben Wilson. He's connected to rural water. Here's our water line. His father's connected to city water, so once again, it's city water. So we usually require people to be annexed to a small irrigation fee ordinance, the former annexation ordinance was approved on Robert King Golf Course Lane. Those recommend council both waive reading the ordinance and approve ordinance annexing certain land to the corporate city limits of course, plus roll call. Any questions related to this one? So good ask.
I'll entertain a motion for someone to make a motion to waive the reading of the ordinance. I ate some of Craig's chocolate.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the ordinance.
Brian Bonner.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, you know, the truth is, sometimes you gotta confess, sometimes you gotta.
I need a motion and a second for the number 2.
Oh, we're getting there, I just need to kind of talk, so.
I make a motion to approve the ordinance annexing certain land into the corporate city limits.
Second. Chris makes a motion, Keith seconds. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Fish,
Yes.
Councilmember Trailer,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Lee.
Yes.
That would be ordinance number 964.
Thank you very much.
City Administrator report, it's 8:57.
Richie hour here.
Micah, get back up here.
All right, real quick here.
Sarah, did you need something?
Turn the microphone on.
Turn it off.
On, is it on?
Testing 1, 2. All right, the Joint City Council Planning Commission meeting. Stars are aligning here. Just so happens to be, we're suggesting one. July 8th. We were going to say or August 12th, but we'll go ahead and do it for July 8th. There is a housing study that just came out that I referenced earlier. We wanted to have the company that devised that research to come present that. Hopefully they'll be available July 8th. Maybe we can do like a half hour on the discussion we talked about earlier, and then a half hour with the presentation. I don't think we have any agenda items for July 8th.
We do now.
Except for that one. So we should have ample time to review this stuff. But take a look at that study. I sent it last Friday. That way you can come equipped. Linear Park Playground, Public Works Department, they've been pretty darn busy with this road work amongst all the other things they have to do during this season of the year. So it's taking a little additional time. We want to get those bids gathered so we can present the inclusive sensory play equipment addition at Linear Park during a July council meeting. July 1st is maybe a little ambitious. It could be the second meeting in July. City Hall storage shed. The Public Works Department is also gathering bids for a concrete slab and a storage shed to be placed on the south side of City Hall. We are plumb out of room here, so we need additional storage. Wayfinding signage. My colleague, Assistant City Administrator Ryan W. Schrack, mentioned earlier, he's comprised a draft RFP seeking contractors interested in fabricating and installing 14 wayfinding signs in high traffic areas around town. Authorization to advertise the RFP may come at a council meeting in July. Stormwater, I'm going to skim over that one because we've been talking about that quite a bit. Harlan's team has been out collecting survey over the last couple of weeks. We're going to have a charter ordinance put together by my colleague at Morris Lane to consider adopting a stormwater management fee, so we have revenue to maintain our stormwater system in our community. Rural Water District 4 cross connection. Harlan's team over at CDPA will be planning the pump station project. We probably want to jump on that at our next regularly scheduled meeting, get the ball rolling there. Budget workshops. The 2025 budget season is upon us. July 1st, enterprise funds. July 15th, street and special revenue funds. July 23rd, the general, library, and debt service funds. And on August 5th, we will present the comprehensive budget presentation and host the public hearing. I believe it's the July 23rd meeting. We'll have an intent resolution we got this whole fun process that the state has concocted for us to follow. It's riveting stuff. So we'll be working through those proceedings in the next coming weeks to get the budget set up. Capital improvement program, staff's working on the 10-year CIP. We're going to keep kind of limping that one along here, but when the new CFO gets into the fold, that's going to be a big priority for them. The budget will be mostly done due to Matt's hard work as well as the council and other staff, but the CIP, we're going to give them something to work on right away. Community development update. This comes mostly from my colleague Micah Scoggin, our community development director. In the month of May, the city issued 16 residential building permits, generating a total of $82,451 in fee revenue and $4.9 million in new valuation. A lot of that fee revenue, it's not quite a zero-sum game, but a lot of that fee revenue goes into like the cost of the infrastructure that comes from the tap fees and stuff like that. Year to date, we are at 86 residential permits, generating about $451,000 in fee revenue and nearly $25 million in new valuation. North Park open house number 2. So the ad hoc North Park committee made a trip to Kansas City. I think it was last week, perhaps the week before. We toured about a half dozen parks. We wanted to go somewhere outside of our region because we want this to be a regional attraction as an addition to our park system. We went with our hired architect and we learned a lot. We saw a lot of cool stuff. So at this North Park open house number 2, which is going to be Wednesday, July 10th from 5:30 to 7:30, we're going to be presenting like all these different options that our citizens and our young people and our other people will be able to choose from to help us design this park. And this is going to be really an inclusive opportunity for our citizens to get involved and help us plan this project. So there'll be like 4 or 5 amenities, and for each of those there'll be a few options for people to rank. And these are unique amenities, so I'm really excited for you guys to get a look at that. I really hope everyone will come. We're going to be marketing this open house pretty heavily. I still want to continue to drive people to the story map, which is on the city website under the community tab. Go check out that North Park. It is something special. CFO, Matt Long accepted a new position, as you guys know. His last day is going to be Wednesday, July 3rd. He doesn't know it yet, but we'll be doing a little something special for him. We have been aggressively advertising to fill his vacancy and anticipate holding first round interviews the week of July 1st. Future agenda items, mentioned the stormwater stuff, 167 additional petitions, Arbor Creek South petitions, the Laserfish Cloud Site Package Budget Workshops, wayfinding signage, and City Hall storage shed, and a few other items that I scratched on here. I just want to thank Amanda for her volunteership to the senior initiatives. That presentation was pretty comprehensive, and she volunteered her time to put that together. Thank you for doing that and for your commitment to serving that group of our citizens. I also want to thank Angie and Vice Mayor Fish and the slew of volunteers that it takes to put on the Main Street Market. What another wonderful iteration of that event. It's been so fun to be a part of. I love going out there with my family each time we have it. And I also want to congrats to Angie for getting the carnival back. That is no easy feat. I've had city managers in other communities calling me and asking me how we got it. And that was before I even knew we got it. So, lastly but not least, I want to recognize Brooke Brandenburg, Tina Powell, and of course Harlan. This road stuff that we talked about tonight, this has not come easy. It's been a challenge to do such a large project. We've done $200,000 of resurfacing a year for the last who knows how many years. We haven't had a lot of capital projects like this, and so that team has really jumped on the ball and done a great job. They've been reactive to make adjustments as variables have arisen. They've worked under high pressure. We're talking about a lot of money and a lot of expectations from our community and our business owners. They've gone above and beyond, and I'm so proud of the work that they've done, and I wanted to share that with the governing body. Thank you.
I almost feel like you want to give Brooke a round of applause. He's not here, but thank you. I know you're having fun. That's the thing.
It isn't me, it's Harlan, it's Tina.
Well, everybody,
it's a group of people making this happen.
I mean, it's great work. Governing body comments. Let's start down here with the A, Aubrey.
Yeah, we did that after.
Yeah, phenomenal work, staff. You guys are just killer. I know it's chaos out there with the traffic and all that, and I thank the citizens for being patient. And, so we're doing it for the good of the city and good quality, and like what we discussed, you know, so a lot of hard roads to pave, but it's gonna be worth it in the future, so, that's pretty much what I got. You know, you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I'm honored to be sitting here with you guys.
Thank you, Alderman. Right.
No, I just think everybody's doing a great job as well. Doing executive sessions, so I'll keep it short.
Very good, thank you.
I'll take Brent's extra time. I'm just kidding. All right. First, I've had a couple people ask me, so Chief, what's the official speed on 54? The codes are out of our way. Can we drive faster or are we getting tickets?
Nothing has changed yet.
Perfect. Go 35. Cool. Matt,
Nobody does.
we're going to miss you a lot. Don't be a stranger. We'll get you for a few more weeks, but thank you for everything you've done for Goddard over these past many years. We really are losing one of the best in the business, so best of luck to you in future endeavors. With that, goodbye. I wasn't here last time, so Ryan, welcome to Goddard. Exciting. A couple days ago, the mayor and myself and Ryan and Craig and our spouses got to go out to Tanganyika's Twilight Tour. Had an incredible time getting to know him and his wife. We've got a man with a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience coming to us. So I'm excited to see what you do with Main Street and with these signs. There's that. And to answer your question on how we got the carnival back, it's because we got the best in the business. I will brag on Angie often because of the conversations we've had. Her wisdom and experience is insane. You find me another small town that gets Congressman Ron Estes to come to lunch, and then we can talk about experience. So, Angie, thank you for what you do.
Good?
Yeah. Okay. President.
I just want to thank Nicholas for his, we appreciate his service and commitment to the Goddard community, and Brooke and your whole team. You're definitely proving yourselves over and over, so we appreciate that. Sheila and Amanda for advocating for the senior community. It's really sweet to see, and Ryan, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, Matt will miss you.
He'll be back.
You're wearing fancy consultant shoes.
Just briefly, I want to thank everyone for the things that have been mentioned. This evening at 5:15, we had a meeting with Mayor's Community Advisory Committee. It's something that we're putting in place to try to create some additional transparency and receive input from the community, and hopefully limit some of my blind spots, because I do know I have them. But I appreciate Craig's efforts in trying to get that started, and look forward to the input from that group as we continue to move forward. We will press on. Appreciate you guys up here and the discussions that we've had, and just the interactions good. And we're doing things up front and open manner like we talked about. And I think the community appreciates that. So with that, we'll move on.
Sure.
Make a motion to move to enter executive session for consultation with the city attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship for KSA 75-4319B2 to discuss potential litigation and including the city administrator and city attorney, with the regular meeting opening at 9, how long do we want, 3 minutes? 9:40. 9:45 with a 5-minute break before it.
And also to include Bob Kirkendall.
And also to include Bob Kirkendall. And does he need to be in there?
No.
Okay, that's it. Motion.
That's the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aubrey seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We shall return. Ooh. Okay.
No action was taken.
No action was taken, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Keaton made the motion, just a second. I say, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're out of here.
Microphone.
73.